Why is Joe Burrow so unlucky? It seems like no matter how hard he tries, the odds are always stacked against him. And what's worse is that Burrow and Cincinnati Bengals' hopes of a 2-game winning streak have now gone down the drain after a close defeat to the Baltimore Ravens. Imagine having a 4-6 record, despite playing the quality of football we have witnessed from the quarterback and the Bengals. Quite unfair? Or should we say, quite unlucky? Bengals fans were disappointed as their Thursday night football match ended in huge disappointment as they were outscored by the Baltimore Ravens by a score of 1 point. Can you imagine that? Just one single point. If they had won this game, the victory would not only have elevated the Bengals to a 5-5 season record, but also established their first victory against a team with a winning record. But those hopes were crushed, unfortunately. Although many thought that the loss wasn't the Bengals' fault as they went for the 2-point conversion in the final 38 seconds of the game, Burrow did not hesitate one bit to admit that his team wasn't good enough for a victory. He went on to take responsibility for his actions and said, "It's a tough pill to swallow. How can someone be as unlucky as him?" Here's what he had to say about his team's loss in the post-game interview. "Look at how we are playing. And then you look at Trey Hendrickson and how he is playing. Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow. We had our opportunities, obviously. We know it's tough, and you feel like you're playing well enough to win. And you're not. But there's always more to do." Despite playing such great football, which involved Burrow outshining his opposing quarterback, Lamar Jackson, after recording 428 passing yards and 4 touchdowns, you can't help but feel bad about the terrific quarterback. And you know what's even more unfair? While Burrow recorded 428 passing yards, Jackson only recorded 290 yards and 4 touchdowns. But still, right after failing the 2-point conversion play, all Jackson had to do was wait for the clock to run out to bag a victory and improve to a 7-3 record. Now you have to have a heart of stone if you don't feel bad for Burrow here. And to make matters even more difficult, or rather worse for the Bengals, is the fact that they will now face a challenging path to the playoffs with only a 30% chance of qualifying. Not to forget that the coming 2 games are not going to be smooth sailing in any manner, as their schedule features 2 consecutive games against teams with winning records. But rather than blaming outside factors, Burrow has taken accountability for his team's performances since the commencement of the season, regardless of the controversial decisions by the NFL officials to overlook multiple penalties that could probably have brought the Bengals a much-needed victory. Along with saying that the 4-6 record is a tough pill to swallow, the QB went on to add by saying, "You just be ready when your opportunity comes and presents itself and be ready to make a play. You never know when it's going to come, or what situation it's going to be in. In backups, you never know when your opportunity presents itself. When guys go down, you've got to go take advantage of it and go from there." In fact, Burrow is right that this is not all about luck, and that the Bengals' defense and Zach Taylor haven't really been up to the mark this season. But then there are some analysts who do not agree with Burrow and are not defending him. Even though Burrow's performance has been solid, sports analyst James Jones believes he should not be given a pass for the team's poor start to the season, along with how they have been performing. In fact, Jones feels that Burrow shouldn't be given any special status because of his great reputation and individual stats, especially when veteran quarterback and his former teammate Aaron Rodgers became subject to scrutiny over an underwhelming start. Well, he is kind of right, isn't he? In an episode of The Facility, the former NFL star-turned-analyst asked his colleagues whether Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, or Lamar Jackson would have received a pass if they recorded a 1-4 season start. And his colleagues replied with a no, which is how he supported his argument by saying if all these wouldn't get a pass, then Burrow shouldn't either. Despite the fact that Burrow holds himself and his team to high expectations, one cannot deny that he was an absolute beast in the game against Baltimore. He literally took 13 quarterback hits, many of which should have been penalized, and gave one heck of a tough competition to the top-ranked offense with a splendid performance. But unfortunately, the results speak for themselves. Not just the fans, Bengals wide receiver Jamar Chase is also having a tough time wrapping his head around how the Bengals' best players are playing well, but the team is 4-6 this season. Upon losing to the Ravens, here's how Chase reacted. "Yeah, it's crazy to say that. I would never in a million years expect me to play this well. And he plays this well. And we still have a record like this. We done had some tough losses this year. All close games. And to make things even more interesting, let us enlighten you with some stats to show just how unlucky Burrow and the Bengals have been this season. Through 10 games, Joe Burrow has 2,672 passing yards with 25 total TDs. Jamar Chase has 981 receiving yards and 10 TDs, while Trey Hendrickson has 11 sacks. And yet, the Bengals are 4-6. Now, how would you make sense of that? Only by saying that their luck is not favoring them one bit at this moment. So what do you have to say about Joe Burrow's reputation of being one of the unluckiest QBs in recent NFL history, and about the Bengals' shocking record, despite some insane performances from their top players this season? Do let us know in the comments section below, and stay up to date with more such exciting sports stories only on First Sports.